It's on video, Joe's squirrel vagina.
I am a squirrel vagina. Born in 1936, Joe's squirrel vagina Cruz first joined the army in 1954. Upon leaving the army in a dishonourable discharge for raping a shrew in a ditch, he then became a famous jazz musician throughout the 60s, playing the wobbleboard, later made famous by Rolf Harris, who coincidentally is Joe's great aunt. Yes, I know what you're thinking, Rolf Harris is a bloke. Sister. He's actually born a woman. He used to be known as Rolf Feeder Harris, the Australian animal rapist. Then, during the 70s, he starred in Saskia's Hutch as the Rabbit Hutch in episode 1, season 3, in that little black kid's back garden with the rabbit that mysteriously got eaten by the fox. Ah! Later in his life, he would become friends with Dave North, the famous child clown college. What? He learnt to juggle with 3 balls on a unicycle on a tightrope, but he later went on to fall in love with Jamie Mack, and he starred in many fisting videos on the internet, and also he now does adverts for Durex, and then later on in the world they invented hovercraft. And then they hovered all over the place. And then Tom Bain hovered over the sea. But everybody knows hovercraft don't work on water. And like anyone that's seen Back to the Future trilogy anyway. Because he's like, everybody knows hovercraft don't work on water. And it's like, oh no, hovercraft don't work on water. But then he gets away with it. And then Biff and his gang end up flying into that bank anyway. Don't ask me what happened then. Back to the Future 2, that was, yeah, the one where they're in the future. Not back in the past, back in the future. And then Back to the Future 3 was when they went even further back into the past, because they went into the Old West. And then Clara was the bird that fell off the train into the ditch, and they laid it Clayton's Rig. No, they didn't name it that. They named it Clara's Ditch or something. Anyway, who knows? Anyway, besides Back to the Future, then the Chinese babies in a blender. Yeah, that's right, Dave North. I remember that. You sick bastard. You slush puppy Chinese baby drinker. I know what you did. I know what you did last summer. What a terrible film that was. Speaking of film, I saw Creep last night with this little man in the middle of it. Like, I didn't know that they actually grew up in Rayleigh, but they did. Because monsters live in Rayleigh, which is why they always play the automatic, what's that coming over the hill, is it a monster, down the brush, because it's like their national anthem for Rayleigh. Because Essex is where Rayleigh's at, and they've got 3 shanks as their, county emblem, as it were. And then also, probably the most famous football team from Essex is Southend, currently bottom of the league, but we'll still win it. 300 to 1, whatever. I'll put all my student loan on that tomorrow, right after I get that swastika tattooed on my arse. That's not really happening. I'm not racist. I'm friends with Techno Out, and it's from Cyprus. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Willis. Yeah. What was Willis talking about? Nobody knows. Many people suspect it was Area 51, which is why they had to shut him up and take that show off the air. I mean, Mr. Drummond, he was white, but he adopted some black kids. And in that day and age, that was a bold move. But, respect to him, because, I can do that. I can adopt someone else's son. If my wife was pregnant with someone else's son, maybe Tom Baines, I couldn't live with it. I'd have to cut that get loose blood. I'd borrow some scissors, and I'd cut her loose, because I don't know my answers. And I'd cut her loose. As soon as that baby was out, I'd say, you're not my child, and then I'd leave. And I would probably go travelling. I've always wanted to go travelling. Not really, but everyone always says that, so I thought I'd say it as well. But anyway, I suppose I've got to go now, because, you know what, I might watch the Back to the Future trilogy tomorrow, because Ben's got it. Maybe. I don't know. When he comes back, I'll ask him. You can hang around till then if you want, but I'm just probably going to go and do a week, because I'm really Speaking of we, how many different words are there for we? Like we, with, slash, piss. That's 4 off the top of my very drunken, long-haired head. Get on the bus, blah blah blah. Wait, you're watching the Back to the Future trilogy tomorrow. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, seeing as this is probably going to end up on MySpace, I'd just like to say to all the sexy girls on MySpace, yeah, I want more pictures of you in bras. Yeah, please. That's what we want. That's what MySpace is about.
Have we got the squirrel vagina thing now?
Squirrel vagina. Squirrel vagina. Stop it.